Like you said, one of the key things with people where they turn their nose up at it because of the stigma of cannabis. I mean, like my mum, she thought I was like a drug dealer. So I guess it's been a bit of a while since our last podcast. A lot's happened, a lot is happening, and it's been quite an exciting space. We've got some new people that are joining us as well, so it's interesting for us to, or important for us to, I guess, say hi.
Definitely.
Give people a bit more background in terms of who we are and kind of why we started Serena Organics, because I think one of the main things is, for us, it was being able to bring quality products to a market that was massively crowded with misinformation, with bad quality products.
Yeah.
And obviously we were doing our work in the US. For those who don't know, we used to work for a manufacturing company that used to cultivate CBD in Zimbabwe, then importing into Canada and the US. So we were very much at the forefront of what was going on the US scene, right? And then we decided to obviously come back here and kind of set up Serena Organics type thing just before lockdown, right?
Yeah, it was crazy to see actually the gulf in difference of quality.
Yeah.
From the UK market to that. When we were in the US and Canada, speaking to a lot of the big players over there, just having conversations, understanding how they were also cultivating, but also the quality of finished product they were actually putting out onto the market.
Yeah.
When we tried it, we were like, wow, this is insanely different.
Yeah.
So you could actually feel the benefits. So I think that was when we saw the opportunity of like, actually, we could bring this to the UK market, especially as we knew at the time, the quality of products 2-3 years ago, coming off even retail shelves, were a little bit, should we say, not reliable.
Yeah.
People were testing them, there was no CBD in them at all, or there was incorrect amounts for their labeling. So people were trying it with good faith.
Yeah.
And not feeling any of the benefits that CBD had to offer.
And I think one of the massive things was just more in terms of what we massively realized is that CBD does work, right? Remember, I think we were coming from New York and we missed the flight to Canada, but then when we got to Canada, we then had CBD and like just slept
like a baby.
Like an absolute baby, right? And I think it was just more realizing that there are benefits to CBD, there are things that it can help with, it can help people in their daily lives. And for us, it was important to kind of ensure that everybody kind of feels that. And I think that's kind of where the whole Serena Organics thing was born, right? In terms of the name and what we wanted to do and the products that we wanted to kind of distribute, which I think obviously since the last time we've updated people where we've been, it's been absolutely amazing. We've obviously taken on our scientific advisor, Professor Mike Barnes, who's obviously the first doctor in the UK to be able to prescribe medicinal cannabis, which is amazing because again, speaking to the science element and what we want to do, we want to make sure that we're not feeding into the noise of CBD will definitely help you with X, Y, and Z, but because we're not doctors, right? And I think it's important that that's where kind of Professor Mike Barnes, he speaks to the science and what it is that we're trying to help people understand massively around education. Yeah,
and I think we realised early on that education is so key in this industry, especially like a lot of people we speak to, there's still that stigma today around cannabis and is it legal? Will it get me high? Because of years and years of legality conditions with cannabis, it's quite hard to change people's thinking towards that even today. But we are seeing that more and more people, especially our community, are now adopting cannabis-based products and seeing the benefits of that. And I think that really drove our sort of mission to a degree because we realised ourselves from being in the US and Canada, the benefits. And it was almost like, actually, there's so much to be had here from a product which a lot of people would typically turn their nose away from. Now people are really realizing, actually, this can help with my stress, this can help with my sleep, this can help with anxiety. And this was at a time when we were moving into 2020, which was the start of lockdown. And suddenly people who'd never even experienced things like this, these certain conditions, are now looking for alternative medicines to help cope with this.
And I think that's just like one of the beauty of education in itself, right? And that's why I'm really happy with the podcast that we're creating and kind of bringing on industry leaders and our ambassadors to kind of talk about this stuff. Because like you said, one of the key things with people where they turn their nose up at it because of the stigma of cannabis. I mean, like my mum, she thought I was like a drug dealer. when I first told her. But it's interesting because one of the key things is people just don't know. Once they hear cannabis, they automatically assume it's the stuff that gets me high, right? But they don't realize that there are so many different components of the cannabis plant in itself. And that's just one of many hundreds. I don't even know what number it's at the moment, well over 100 cannabinoids. And CBD is one of those things that have a lot of benefits. But I guess if you're already kind of at a predisposition of like, oh God, cannabis, oh no, it gets you high, or no, I know people that use cannabis and all of a sudden they turn loopy or they turned insane, which also to a degree there isn't a lot of, there are varying differences of truth to the varying different things that we believe as well. So I think that's why I'm kind of really excited about this podcast. Obviously the last time we spoke was when we had just like freshly launched type thing. And we weren't even in Selfridges then, were we?
No, we weren't in Selfridges, but we knew what we wanted to do. We knew how we wanted to educate people. Obviously, we had very big dreams when we started. I remember us doing our whys and hows and whats and really laying out exactly how we wanted to move forward with the business. And to be fair, we actually took a long time just mapping out exactly what we wanted to do with the brand, how we wanted to almost be of service to our community.
To people.
And I remember us watching a few programs in lockdown and getting some inspiration
on the board, on the whiteboard.
Yeah, and it was amazing time for us to really just focus on what we wanted to look at in the future. And I think we saw as well that a lot of CBD brands that had moved into the market, even though we were at that time relatively new, they were making a lot of these claims which were quite unsubstantiated at the time. And I think we realized that we needed to be different to the rest of the market. For us to elevate ourselves and really be that premium brand. It's not just, yes, we needed that product. We needed the product that when people consumed it, they'll feel the benefits of CBD, but we didn't want to just be that CBD brand. We realized there's so much more that we needed to do, and a big part of that was the educational piece. So having Mike on board now it's a blessing, and it's just great to be able to learn from a man of his expertise in the field.
I think it's just, we're so happy to be able to bring that to you guys, where you can have products that you can trust that what we say on the bottle is what it is. But then there's also people on hand like Professor Mike Barnes and all our many ambassadors as well. People like Tim Gray, people like Ariana, people like Michael Italiano, who within their own rights in their own field, what they do, they've given a lot of attention to that stuff. And we're really excited to kind of bring these people on board to the podcast as well. And then when we're looking at kind of our brand, our mission, and where we're looking to go and what makes us different. And there's so many things to kind of talk about from when we first came. And I think one of the key things that I've enjoyed so much is hearing from you guys. I think for me, that's been one of the massive things is when we're at events or trade shows or emails that we get from people who maybe they've used a CBD product before. And don't get us wrong, there are some great CBD products out there. You know, so it's quite disappointing when people come to us, and quite disheartening as well when they've gone to CBD as an alternative medicine, and for some people the last resort as well, because they just haven't had any help in terms of maybe pharmaceutical drugs or maybe with their mental health or with their sleep. And then hearing people talk about, oh, I use your product and for the first night in like 3 years I've slept really, really great. Or when we're at that event and that woman with, was it multiple sclerosis, and she used,
in her wrist.
She used our massage oil or cooling gel. You know, and she took off her brace and she was like, hey, listen, I'm able to do this. And not from a place of you're healed or it's a miracle type thing, but no, just really speaking to the benefits of the product and the fact that it does work and there are benefits to it. So when we're looking at kind of where we're going now, it's almost like, you know, we're in Selfridges. Since the last time we've spoken to people, and for the new people, we're now in Selfridges. We're now listed in independent pharmacies. We've taken on a few ambassadors within varying degrees of disciplines, from medicine to yoga. And now we're also looking at kind of like how we expand and how we get in front of people. So looking at more in real life events, which we're looking at into the next year. I
think that very much speaks to what we were looking at when we first started the brand as well. Because I remember we were very much like, we want to enhance wellness for all lifestyles and daily routines. It wasn't like we want to pigeon ourselves and be just specific to this. It was very much, we want to be able to provide this for all lifestyles. So to be able to see us in like sports industries, in pharmaceutical industry, hotels, spas, other wellness industries as well, and just looking at our community, everyday people who maybe work in the corporate world or could be any other sort of profession, they find use in CBD and using our products whether that be post their exercise or pre their work day, which can be quite stressful, or someone who's really struggling to get to sleep at night. It's just amazing when we get that feedback. And I think for me personally, the events, one thing I love is because it's usually like 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
We can give out our samples on like the first day or the second day, and people will come back.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, I've had like the best night's sleep.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, this is just rewarding, because then they could be the ones when they come up to us like, oh, CBD, no, it doesn't work. Tried it. And then we might probe and be like, when did you try it?
What percentage?
Yeah, what percentage? Do you know much about how it's cultivated, all this stuff? And suddenly they're like, no, not really. And we're like, just try it.
Let us know what you think.
And then they come back. And do you know, it's also, it speaks to some of our biggest advocates were initially our biggest skeptics as well, or at least skeptics to a degree. I mean, Joe, you touched on Michael Italiano. I remember in his testimonial, which was amazing, it was so kind for him to do that for us, just on a whim. He was quite rightly said in that I was skeptical of CBD beforehand, and he's always looking at alternative ways to improve his athletes' performance. So to see him come back, working in such a prestigious sports industry like Formula One, to come back and be like, I've given it to my mechanics, they've tried it on their knees and the pain's reduced, and I've tried it myself. I'm no longer aching after flights, and I've slept amazingly from all my traveling. For us, when I remember we watched that for the first time, we were just like, this is like a stepping stone for the brand, and this is like a pivotal day. Yeah. Really realizing actually the reach we have with the products we created.
Yeah, and I guess the benefits that it does kind of bring, and you're right around the whole skeptic stuff. And I think, I don't know, it's just amazing. It's amazing to be able to kind of bring this to people. Genuinely though, like genuinely actually speaking to people on a day-to-day basis, and looking at how when we first started, we were initially just thinking of a CBD company, right? But now it's kind of evolved into how we are seen as more of a wellness brand, and how we do things like mindfulness and ice baths and biohacking and exercising and, you know, all of those things, just looking at the whole nuances in terms of wellness and what wellness means to each individual, and then seeing how we can come together as an actual community. I think it's just more that, it's being able to kind of build that and create that. And we're excited for the future. We're excited for what's to come. We're excited for this podcast as well. I think our next guest is Mike Barnes. So it'll be great to kind of have him on here to be able to talk to you guys about what is CBD, like all of these questions. I mean, here we're talking about the benefits, we're talking about how it's helped people. We've spoken about a few different things, from mental health to chronic pains, and kind of how CBD interacts with the human body, right? And he's like super knowledgeable when he starts talking about it. There are things that I don't even know that he starts saying, so it's like.
The thing I like about Mike as well, he just relays it in a way that layman's term, we can understand it. He's super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Way above anyone else in his field, really, for cannabis-related research, but he can explain it to us in such a simple way that we get it. And
so you guys are going to absolutely love that podcast. So make sure you tune in for that. That's going to be super, super, super amazing.
In terms of, like, I know when we first started in the industry itself, we didn't know anything about CBD, and the market, when we were looking into it, we were blown away by, obviously having been in the US and Canada as well, actually how big it had got in such a short space of time. And now seeing how the UK has adapted, it's become the second largest consumer of CBD globally. Also without a lot of people not really knowing about it. What do you think really of the next sort of 3 to 5 years, especially with us helping sort of drive the market forward, particularly in the UK? How do you see that sort of changing?
I think just with any industry anyway, when you're initially starting out, right, there's things that work and there's things that don't. Obviously, we have the whole novel foods thing at the moment. We're from the FSA, which thankfully we're listed on the register. And for those who don't know much about the novel foods situation, it's a regulation that the Food Standards Agency has introduced that essentially says that every CBD company needs to be registered and on their dossier to prove that their products are of good quality to be able to keep selling to consumers within the UK. Now, there are some benefits to that, but also a lot of negatives for us on the product side. But I think one of the key things is it's definitely weeding out a lot of the bad CBD companies that were there before.
Definitely.
Where on their shelves they would say 10%, and if you tested it yourself, it would have no CBD in. or it would have high levels of THC or heavy metals and pesticides. I think there are some benefits there in terms of weeding those people out. What I do think is that we're coming into a place now where people are beginning to feel more empowered with the knowledge that they have now around CBD.
Definitely.
They're beginning to now understand that CBD is not the same as THC, so it doesn't get me high. They're beginning to understand how to spot quality products, i.e. do they have their certificate of analysis on the websites?
Yeah.
Do they show any toxicology reports such as heavy metals, pesticides, and all those varying different things that ironically you wouldn't actually understand how important it is. I mean, we didn't understand when we first started, right, that you can have two 40% products and one can have high levels of fungicides or pesticides and one can be completely organic, and the one that's organic can still have more potency and it will be more effective than the one that's got the presence of heavy metals or pesticides. Actually, the ones with heavy metals and pesticides can actually do more damage to the human body. So I think in terms of where we're going with that as an industry, I think it's quite favorable for us. I think where we are now as a company is we're very much not necessarily a CBD company. Where we are right now, it's creating that wellness umbrella, you know, and partnering with spas and partnering with hotels and the ambassadors that we have and the consumers themselves, and kind of hearing the stories of how they're using it. So some people now begin to give us recipes on how they kind of incorporate it into cakes and all that kind of stuff. And I think for us, it's opening up this whole new portal that we never actually saw before, even in the US industry, because in the US industry, it's very much around, you know, your sweets and your oils and your vape pens and, you know, actual smoking.
Yeah.
Whereas now we're looking at how we can incorporate CBD into wellness and how we can incorporate wellness into CBD and, you know, that relationship and how that works. And I think for us, it's a really, really good place to be in.
Yeah. And I think we're excited to really showcase to our community what we can do in terms of the wellness side of our business.
Yeah.
We, obviously for our ambassadors, we've learned a lot around biohacking. So through Tim, we'd be sat on grass doing work, grounding.
Yeah. I can't wait for Tim to get on the podcast, by the way. I really, really can't wait. That's going to be exciting.
Yeah. He has some great insights.
Yeah.
He always seems to be learning new things month by month and sharing new information. So it's amazing to be able to relay that onto our community as well.
And like Ariana, like her story around CBD and
amazing
what she does around yoga as well. So I think, we're in a good place and we're just excited to have people on the journey with us. Welcome to the new people and hi to those of us that have been here for a while. But yeah, we have some exciting things coming up on the podcast that we are so excited to bring to you as a company, as products, as services, as well as education. So make sure that you tune in, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you follow us on what we're doing, and feel free to check our website at events that we're at as well, because I think that's an important thing.
Yeah.
That we do attend a lot of events as well. Some of them are accessible to general members of the public, so people can kind of meet us there as well, which is cool as well.
Yeah, feel free to check our website. We'll have our events listed on a calendar so you can see exactly where we're going to be. Always exciting to meet people at the events. I think our community grows so quickly when we go to events. People get to meet us, understand more about the products, organically grown, everything that makes us premium in the market. And I think from then they get to test our products as well. So yeah, do come along, see us at the event, come try our products, and you get to meet us too, which is always a laugh.
And if you can't make it, feel free to write to us. So you can go to, you can email us at joeanddavid@serenaorganics.com. So reach out to us via email. We are always on hand to always respond. Any question is allowed. There is no stupid question. I think that's one of the key things that we like to drum to people, especially when you're trying to learn about something new. There is no question that's stupid. So ask us any question. If I can overdose on CBD, if I can drive with CBD, if I can drink while having CBD, just feel free to reach out to us. Or just say hi, because sometimes it's good to say hi.
Definitely.
So yeah. But no, it's been amazing. Super happy that we're able to revamp this podcast as well and kind of bring that back to people. And there are so many amazing guests that are coming up. So look out for that.
And yeah, just lastly, thank you to our community, early adopters who listened to our original podcasts with the likes of Mike Barnes and even our initial intro where we were not in a nice studio like we are filming before we're actually
we're in our living room.
But making ends meet, and now to see the progression we've made over the last 2 to 3 years is
great.
Is amazing. So yeah, excited to have everyone on board.
And I mean, it's important to know that there are a lot of brands out there. Some brands are doing some amazing stuff in terms of helping people with their day-to-day lives and the issues that they may be facing when it comes to wellness, right? the unfortunate thing is there's been so many companies that have started CBD companies, where it just hasn't been the best quality. And I think that's what we wanted to make sure we did right when we started, was making sure that the product was organically grown.
Yeah.
Because we understood the importance of that. No presence of heavy metals, pesticides or fungicides, going up to 40%, which is the highest in the UK market. Yeah. And I think all of those things, and also making sure that our COA's, certificate of analysis, are available on the website. So what we say on the box is what it is, right? So somebody can check based on the batch number, actually what do the products say when it's taken to an independent lab. And I think those things are the important things that people should look out for, but we also wanted to do correctly.
Yeah, we wanted that full transparency. So before everyone even thought about buying one of our products, they could see exactly what was in our products. Yeah. Just so that trust was there. Yeah. And I think we've developed that quite nicely with our community, to the point where they recommend a lot of people they know to come speak with us and try our products.
And we see that from the feedback, I guess. And I think that's because, like, one of the things that people say a lot is, oh, I used to try CBD before, but I hated the taste. And we didn't really like the taste when we used to work in the industry. So we were like, boom, let's use MCT oil. Yeah. That has its own neuroprotective properties and a range of other benefits as well. But you don't get that disgusting hempy taste, which some people would like. I mean, I personally don't like it. And then we've also then looked at the flavors, which we've got orange, which is my personal favorite, and then peppermint.
Yeah, which is probably my personal favorite, the peppermint.
Yeah, but I think it's those things that when you take a lot of time and effort into something and you take a great detail in making sure that things are of high quality, then it then starts to translate in the feedback that you get from people. And I think that's where we feel like we're doing it well right now.
Definitely.
And it's how we then scale that up and make sure that more people who need this are therefore then able to access it.
And we were maybe a little too pedantic, some might say, but we were very into the fine detail, not just on the product, but even like on our packaging. Yeah. We wanted everything to feel right, the plique material, no white edges, gold foiling. We wanted people to experience the brand before they've even tried the product. It's almost getting that premium feel. So when they even receive the packaging, I remember we put a lot of thought into just even how they receive it in the bubble wrapping with our branding and all back packaging to then the cartons and then to the product itself. And I think that just allows for a great experience with our community. So.
And I think that's why we say now that wellness is the new luxury, right? It's wellness. Luxury is a place. Luxury is an experience. Luxury is a vibe. It's beyond what people would historically put as a price tag, even though to a degree it does it does translate into that. It's more the overarching feel. It's more how you feel from the name of the company, from the website to the products that you use to the taste.
Absolutely.
And I think we got that right, and I'm proud of that.
Proud of you, mate.